Be asking both pro-Israel and pro-Palestine what they think.
The occupation of Palestine is the cause of all evil.
The only way to stop violent men is with other violent men.
Rockets, murdering, ripping.
Babies, elderly, they cold-bloodedly murder them.
These babies that were splattered, where are they? We have 800 just died!
I can interview whoever I'd like.
You can continue somewhere else.
Can you summarize what you're protesting about?
Oh my gosh, what is going on? Palestine versus what is this? Oh my goodness. Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl VeraMoore. I'm back with another reaction video. Today I'm going to be reacting to Jen, and I investigated the most intense Israel versus Palestine protests, and it's really so intense and so scary right now. Goodness. Let's go on, guys.
We received surprise attacks by Hamas from Gaza, rockets, murdering, ripping for Israeli citizens, and so we are protesting the support of Israel to defend itself, and determination of Hamas.
We are trying to support the elimination of Hamas as a terrorist organization that has been democratically elected to lead the Gazans.
We're protesting the occupation of Palestinian land. For 75 years, they've been occupying a Palestinian land. They've been preventing them from food.
The fact that Israel provides electricity and water out of humanitarian aid does not mean that we have to. Just like America is not expected to provide electricity and water to Mexico.
These people control your electricity, your food, your medicine. You can't leave the city that you were born in.
There is no single one place in Gaza that is free for people to run.
1,300 people been slaughtered, innocent, young children by the Palestinians and Hamas. Those kind of things happen only in the Holocaust.
They say we slaughtered the babies. Where are they? Where are they? We have 800 that just died!
We're protesting the worst massacre that our people have suffered in a couple generations, and we're also calling for the immediate release of all civilians that were taken prisoner, women, children, whole families.
The occupation of Palestine is the cause of all evil. The occupation of Palestine is what started this whole mess. We shouldn't but just take a look at the last event and then judge the whole Palestinian with it. These people have been under occupation for over 13 years in that little strip.
This is not fighting for freedom. This is not fighting for human rights. This is not fighting for anything except for the pure evil cause of the elimination of the Jewish and Israeli people.
People have a misunderstanding that this is a religious conflict. This is not Muslims against Jews. This is against occupation.
So whether it be the past 75 years or now an all-out war, peace may have never been an option.
The world is watching.
And with tensions higher than ever, it was both going to be challenging and potentially dangerous to even talk to both sides.
We just have been instructed to prevent other interviews from happening.
And so if both sides are seen as the good guys, can peaceful compromise ever be achieved? Or have we reached a point where one side wins and everyone loses? I guess we gonna see. Should Israel have responded with an all-out war?
Yes, Israel should defend itself, its right to this land, to the State of Israel land. This is the only country in the world that is reserved for the Jewish people.
This has been going on for eternity, and the only way that we have been successful with snuffing out anti-Semitism and hate is on the one hand fighting the psycho-spiritual battle with love, life, and light, and then on the physical front with strength. The problem needs to be handled. Anti-Semitism tolerated is anti-Semitism that leads to genocide every time.
This is our survival. This is not a war for political agenda or anything else. This is for our survival.
The Israeli Defense Force, quite literally called Defense Force, is to defend itself first and foremost. So do whatever necessary to defend, and then from then on, I don't know if I'll speak on what else should be done.
Do you think what Hamas did was justified?
It's very justified because it's self-defense. There's no army, there's no nothing, and these people are just being killed, being attacked all the time, but there has to be a way to fight back.
I don't think killing any civilians is justified at all. But right now, we have several thousand Palestinians being killed. Anybody's talking about it? They've been occupying us for 75 years. Year to date, over 250 Palestinians before this were killed. Nobody talked about it.
It's not justified to kill innocent people.
If they want to fight against the IDF and the oppressor, not against the people who are innocent.
Do you think Hamas represents Palestinians as a whole?
Hamas does not represent Palestinians as a whole. It does represent the situation, the oppression that's happening there.
It represents the ones that are completely out of options.
We're all against killing innocent people, but the same thing has been happening to the Palestinian people for 75 years. I didn't hear anyone say anything.
I really don't know who represent, and it's not really my business. Let's give them their state and they will decide who will represent them.
Is violent solutions ever justified to achieve certain goals?
There are times where violence is what you have to do to defend yourself. In a case like this, where you've got Hamas coming across your border, stealing women and kids and murdering whole families, I don't know how you meet that with anything but violence.
We have a right to defend ourselves, but to do it as resistance, as the Palestinian side claims, is never okay.
People have to understand, desperate people do desperate measures. So if you feel like there is no any other solution for you other than to, commit something violent, unfortunately, you're going to resort to that. It's not justified, but you force people to do that when you don't give them any other way.
You can make peace with countries, you can make peace with people, but when you're dealing with terrorists, when you're dealing with an organization that all he wants to do is slaughter Jews, unfortunately, the only solution is to eliminate them.
Do you believe that your side is objectively the good guys?
100%, and I will scream it at the top of my lungs.
There are extremists on both sides. You have Hamas, who's an extremist group, and then you have the IDF, who hasn't been using international law. They haven't been fighting against the Palestinians in a manner that is humanitarian. As a Palestinian myself, I think we are the good guy in this situation, because at the end of the day, we are fighting against oppressiveness.
Well, I do support my people, my friends, and family that live in Israel. In addition to, I believe this is just the humane side of history, and I always strive to be on the right side of history.
And so if both sides see themselves as on the right side of history, it raises the question, are they exposed to the same or conflicting information? Because as of October 17th, 2023, 16 journalists have already lost their lives, with 13 being Palestinian and 3 being Israeli. And even though international law protects journalists from being targeted during war, reports suggest that rules have gone out the window. Abu Akleh, a Palestinian journalist, was shot dead while she was with fellow journalists, despite survivors' claims that no Palestinian fighters were in sight. And there's also reports of censorship. Instagram users worldwide have reported limitations on their Instagram accounts after posting about Palestine, including issues as being unable to live stream as well as comment on others' posts. And despite a Meta spokesperson denying these reports, some are still not convinced. Because when we look at the other side, Israel have also expressed concerns about censorship. The UN initially reported that a group of people stole fuel and medical equipment from the UN agency, which prompted a strong response from the IDF spokesperson.
The amount of fuel stolen is enough to power Gaza's water desalination for 6 days. The Israel Defense Forces will destroy Hamas.
But hours later, the tweet was deleted, with the UN explaining that in fact, there actually was no looting that had taken place. And just hours before filming this, a hospital in Gaza was bombed. And immediately one side has blamed it on Israeli airstrikes, while the other was doing the exact same but claiming that it was the result of a failed jihad rocket. And so with the shadow banning, censorship, and propaganda from both sides, it's clear why conflicting reports emerge. And so I was deeply curious on how the people here were ensuring that they were getting the most accurate information.
It's interesting that you guys brought up that you guys are, both Israeli citizens and obviously stand with Israel. But I'm curious, where are you guys getting your information from?
I have friends, close friends, that were writing, texting from the bomb shelter in their house. There's people in my house, burning down my house. I need someone to come and save me.
Most of the information I have is from witnesses that live there.
I don't trust media at all. I do, though, see pictures of Palestinian kids pulled from under the rubble all day long.
There's a lot of books that are not just written by Palestinians, even by Americans, US Americans that would go there. It's just the historical events. If you put them all together, it's just kind of easy to tell what's right and what's wrong.
I do try to fact check as much as possible, but unfortunately, I'm sure I fall victim as well.
What do you think the side that you support is not honest about?
One thing that I will say is growing up, I learned about how Israel constantly gives peace treaties to the Palestinian people, and it's constantly rejected, which is true. However, only as I got older did I learn that peace treaties were also given to Israel. It was rejected because the only land we were given in these peace treaties was a sliver of Jerusalem or the desert. I think it's a little justified to reject those, but they were rejected in the end that I didn't learn about.
What do you think your side has not been honest about?
What are you trying to get to? Because
Nothing.
I'm not sure what we're not honest about. I think our side needs more people to speak out the truth. Why is Israel allowed to get away with that?
And so with the conflict rapidly escalating, it was expected that information was going to spread fast on both sides, even if some of it was going to be biased or inaccurate. But as the world started to tune in on the escalating war with the bombing of the Gaza Strip, it also marked a turning point for US public opinion. Historically, support for Israel has remained strong, but recently, a growing number of young Democrats have become more sympathetic to Palestinians. And to be honest, it seems to be consistent to what I saw in the protest. And maybe because it was in Austin, Texas, with a population of Jews of 16,000 compared to New York City with 1.6 million, but judging solely on the turnout of the protest, there were at least 5 times more Palestinians present. But with that said, when we expand the poll to all Americans, polls show that a majority still sympathize with Israel more, even though support for Palestinians has grown for the 5th consecutive year. But as seen through the yearly $3.8 billion military aid and its status as the largest seller of weapons to Israel, there's no doubt about the US government's political support.
The United States stands with Israel.
So it raises the question, what should the US do here?
Do you think the US should get involved?
I think the US involvement has been destructive. They don't support like Palestinians having their rights. So I have a negative view of how the US is involved.
100% the whole world should get involved.
The United States of America is our closest ally, our best friends. If Hezbollah will start something from the north and there's going to be multiple attacks on Israel, I believe the United States should interfere and stop this.
I'm ashamed to be American. I'm embarrassed to be American.
Do you think that...
Just do better. Do better.
And after all these conversations, I had a realization, in that I was learning way more talking to these people than researching it through the internet. And so to get to the heart of this issue, I wanted to ask the most important question that I had in mind going into this protest.
How would you like this conflict to end?
I don't think I have the answer for that. Because on one side, you have the Israelis who say, well, we want to kick all Palestinians out. But then you have Palestinians who say, well, we want to kick all Jewish people out. The answer to that question is always going to be war.
We need to eliminate Hamas, just like the world eliminated ISIS at the time.
Two-state solution, definitely.
Is that possible?
I am not sure, honestly, but I know Israel doesn't want it to happen. They say they do. They don't want it to happen.
Do you think a two-state solution is even possible?
No. I don't even want to explain. It's not possible. Unfortunately, there's too much history, too much hatred on both sides. Coexistence does not exist in that land, unfortunately.
Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. It's either going to be...
Hey, let him talk. Please let him talk. Let him talk.
I respect your opinion, but I'll elaborate you further. A two-state solution is impossible now. Because if Israel stays in the Middle East, there's always going to be war and conflict.
I think it is possible if both parties agree upon that.
It's always going to be death. It's always going to be destruction. So right now, the objective is to eliminate Hamas and have a certain Arabic sovereignty to take over and govern there. Because otherwise, you can't continue this way.
Because even with all the differences in opinions, both sides want the same thing, but in different ways. Innocent civilians would obviously prefer peace over violence, while at the same time recognizing that compromise might not always be possible. But even when it seems like there's no choice and that you have to pick a side, I like to believe that nuance is always there. Because even with the extremism promoted by the media and government from both sides, remember that just how criticizing the attacks by Hamas doesn't make you anti-Palestinian, and criticizing the bombings by Israel doesn't make you anti-Semitic.
Clearly, right, there's a lot of tension and conflict going on, but do you have any one or two things that you do respect about the pro-Israeli side?
The only thing that I feel their pain. I do. I feel their pain because we lived that pain for years. No one likes to see innocent people die. No one.
I do feel for them. One thing I do respect is their dedication to their religion and the dedication to their own cause. At the end of the day, they believe what they're right, and I can respect them fighting for it, even if I believe it is not the right side of history.
And call me idealistic, but perhaps the only way to find truth in a polarized world is through open, respectful dialogue free from hatred and censorship. And so I guess it's up to you and I to lead the way. And it all starts by exploring the unfamiliar. Thanks for watching, and like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more content where I turn street interviews into investigative journalism. And to continue this discussion with myself, join my public Discord using my link in description, where you can debate and discuss this exact topic with other people who explore the unfamiliar from both sides. And if YouTube gets the mission, you'll like this video too.
Wow, I must say that this is really impressive, especially Jen is his name. I love the way he interviewed those people respectfully. Like, I mean, he actually took his time to listen to their response. There was no hateful comment, there was no hate in his words. I love how, he interviewed both sides and he actually got them to talk. Like, he actually listened to what they had to say. That is actually awesome. This is true journalism. I don't think I've seen something this good in a very long time, and I love it. Like, he allowed both sides to be heard just as it should be. No cutting mid explanation. He asked related questions. He wasn't biased, and of course he didn't force any question down their throats, which is quite awesome. Oh my gosh, what do you guys think about this? But the whole Israel Palestine protest is quite sad, seeing everything all messed up like this. Honestly, I had no idea that it was this serious, and this video was like 9 months ago. I honestly hope that everything is calm now and that things are back to normal. What are your thoughts on this? What do you guys think about this video? Drop a comment down below. I totally enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this video as much as I did, give it a huge thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, join VeraCity. Hit the subscribe button below, turn on the post notification bell so that you can always be the first person to know whenever a new video drops. And that's, guys, see you in my next video. Bye, guys.